It was a it was a variety of things that we can't. Oops. It was a problem. It was stupid. It is something that I would not have been involved in at all. But January 6th was, for all practical purposes, a mistake. January 6th was wrong. January 6th, but it was not the end of civilization. It was not an insurrection. It was not any of those things. And by the way, dear friends, let me remind you that, as I said before, and I apologize for the inadvertent mute, we are 147 days away from the election. I don't know how to tell you this. 147 days. This is critical. This is crunch time. January 6th was an absolute joke. And it was everything in their power. They did everything in their power to give you the impression, to make you think that this was subversion. And it laid the groundwork for everything from trying to keep Trump off of the ballot. Off. I mean, it was the Alamo. It was, remember the Maine. It was their rallying cry, and they thought they could do it. And Liz Cheney's January 6th committee suppressed evidence that Trump pushed for 10,000 National Guard troops to protect the Capitol. 10,000. This is according to a previously hidden transcript that the great writers at Molly Hemingway and others at the Federalist found. This is just horrid. Cheney and her committee claimed that there was no evidence to support that Trump and his claims that the White House had communicated a desire for 10,000 National Guard troops. In fact, it was reported that an earlier transcribed interview conducted by the committee included precisely the evidence from a key source. Now, let me explain to you what's going on right now. In this beautiful instance of folks trying to reconstruct history, and this is important, reconstructing history and trying after the fact to show you what had happened. There is this new information, this new story that she was responsible, that, hang on here, that that Nancy Pelosi admitted that she dropped the ball. In fact, there's this, she admits that she was responsible for the National Guard not being ready to deal with it. There was this admission came about 3.5 years after the fact that the Republicans say that they never knew about this. But now this never before seen video, apparently, and why it's coming out now, I have no idea, undermining the Democrats and their claims that Trump was solely responsible. In a video that was shot by Pelosi's daughter, by the way, Alexandria Pelosi is this operative, this, I don't want to say woke, I hate that word, we're beyond that, this radical left Democrat operative who always seems to be there to cover these things. She has behind the scenes connections, behind the scenes. I was there. And now they're trying desperately to reconstruct what I don't know. Remember, let me before we get into this, let me remind you. And forgive, by the way, my exasperation. One of the reasons why I was tardy was I did a brand new video that is driving me crazy. How about people are missing the point regarding Hunter Biden? The Second Amendment is up for grabs, not Hunter Biden. Second Amendment rights apply to everybody, whether you're on drugs, whether you're drinking. The Fourth Amendment applies to everybody, whether you're on drugs. How we've taken this red flag lunacy and extrapolated it so that the Democrats could say, see, even the president's son can't avail himself of this because he was on drugs. Anyway, let's listen to this very, very carefully. Let's focus on this. This is really critical stuff here. And this is the part of the interesting video that we're finding out about now that seems to show Nancy's version. Remember, she's the Speaker of the House. And wait till you see the impotence that both she and Chuck Schumer exhibit. It's breathtaking.
We have responsibility, Terry. We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have.
Now, is she responding to this? Is she claiming? Is she making some kind of, is this a mea culpa? Is this the way people talk? Is this the way people talk to each other during and I'm not going to suggest this was, filmed or taped, recorded at any other time. I know many of you are going to say, well, how do we know this even happened on January 6th? What if they just reconstructed this through some revisionist history? I don't know. But listen to the way she says, we have accountability.
We have responsibility, Terry. We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff that should we call the Capitol Police?
Now stop right there. Remember, you're going to be learning very, very quickly that this is all lies. They knew everything. They knew all about this. Trump asked for 10,000. He did this. Capitol Hill, this is her. She's the Speaker of the House. This is her little fiefdom. This is her area. Do you hear this? This makes me think, were they smart enough to know, make sure we have a recording during this chaos where this to me is incriminating. I'm violating my own rules. I'm trying to analyze, why would you even have this? Why would you let anybody even see this?
I mean, the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
Remember that.
They thought that they had sufficient resources.
That is not a question of how they had been. They don't know. They clearly didn't know.
They knew.
I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more.
So she takes responsibility but blames Trump. She takes responsibility for none of this makes any sense. It's like going into a mental hospital and listening to people and then trying to, he's Batman, but no, don't listen to these people. They're crazy. Now, here's something which tends to, now listen to this, just please forgive me if I lose my mind this morning. This is why I lose my mind. I feel like I'm this lone, sane person in this island of misfit toys in this lunatic asylum. It's like, we're talking around this. This isn't grounds for impeachment. This is grounds for incarceration and indictment. This is misprision. Misprision is a classic common law, but a federal law where you see something that is happening and you take no efforts. Not only that, there's dereliction of duty. They've got more intel with all of the FBI spooks and confidential informants and people in there. With all of these folks, all of them, they knew exactly what was going on. They were communicating on Facebook and Twitter. Everybody knew what was happening. There's no pretend. It's almost like when Israel says, we had no idea about October the 7th. What do you mean you don't have? Of course you knew. You're the best. They were telling you this. You see, they just expect to say something and they expect you to just say, okay, well, that's what they said. Okay, you really want your blood pressure to go crazy?
Trump announced tonight he plans to speak at a large rally of his supporters here tomorrow.
A large rally of his supporters tomorrow. They didn't know January the 5th. Sometimes we got to stop. They didn't know.
Many already gathering. D.C.'s mayor has activated the National Guard as a...
Wait a minute. What? What was that? She activated the National Guard. Nancy Pelosi says there was no National Guard. President Trump wanted 10,000. And by the way, remember, NBC, this is a direct apparatchik of the shadow government. So whatever they're saying, they were told to say this.
Precaution.
It's helpful to have our...
This is Muriel Bowser.
DC guardsmen who...
Let's try this again. Hang on.
Guard as a precaution.
It's helpful to have our DC guardsmen who are our guard that I have requested from the Secretary of the Army.
There you go. So we've got to... Okay, she requested them. President Trump requested them. What's the deal here? And here's little Mary Sunshine, Laura Ingraham.
Secretary of the Army.
Muriel Bowser has actually called in the National Guard to keep things peaceful.
The National Guard called in as D.C. braces for protests.
There are concerns about protests and violence here. The mayor has ordered or called up the National Guard.
Do you see what's happening? Do you see how when we go back in history and you look at what happened the day it happened or the day before, what you learn?
D.C. mayor activates National Guard ahead of pro-Trump demonstrations.
And up next, we're going to go to Washington, D.C., where the National Guard has been called up as pro-Trump protesters are gathering.
D.C. has mobilized the National Guard.
There's a heavy police presence, and National Guard members have been deployed.
D.C. police say they have asked the D.C. National Guard to come and help them out.
Now the National Guard has been activated to try and keep the peace here in this city.
I've been told by the mayor's office that the number of D.C. National Guardsmen being called up is around 340.
Are you hearing this? Are you hearing this? Nobody was there yet that day. Nobody. Remember this? This is what everybody was signaling, but they're counting on you not knowing the rules, not remembering history. They're just counting on you not giving a damn.
At any given time, it's going to be about 100 troops out in the streets. As you mentioned, they are here.
And I think between the D.C. Police Department, the Secret Service, the Capitol Police, Metro Police, they're well rehearsed. As you know, that the National Guard is there to support the police department, and they've worked together. We've worked together for years. So if the politicians can stay out of how this is done and let the professionals operate, they'll give everybody a chance to protest. The D.C. police and the city of Washington, D.C., as well up on the Capitol grounds, that are well rehearsed in how to let people exercise their rights. But they're also well trained. There's a unified command center where everybody will be working together to make sure it's safe and secure so that the work that needs to be done in the Capitol will be done. There's no doubt about that. It will be done.
There you have it. Do you hear what they're doing? This is what they do. I can't watch the actual for example, the day's coverage of 9/11 when it was happening, and I scream, did you hear what they said? Did you hear what they said? Did you hear what Dan Rather said when it was happening? Did you hear what what's his name from CNN? Did you hear what the firemen on the ground said? Did you hear what the witnesses said? All forgotten. You always go at the time of the event. Listen to what people said then, not through this revision. But the Democrats know better. They can say whatever they want because they mobilize en masse. Huge murmurations, and they don't miss a beat. They get Liz Cheney, promise her the world. Liz, Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter. Two sides of the same coin. Now, by the way, there's this other piece, and I don't know if this was it. It was better. I think it was from Meager and Joe and that awful Morning Joe, Mourn. This may be really bad. Oh no. Forgive me. This is something which we have to remind you of. This was they didn't know cameras were going on. They didn't realize this. Remember, when you watch something, it was to many people who were there, not only a setup and prepared and arranged, but invited. Come on in. We want you. If there had been National Guard there, nobody would have breached the Capitol. Nobody. Even these guys with pot bellies and eye patches and a Valkyrie helmet, and nobody would have been there. National Guard? No way. These guys are great with their Gadsden flags and tough guys. But against somebody that goes an M4 and somebody with battle armor? No. But they weren't there. And then they were invited in, up to and including Ashley Babbitt, who still was murdered. And nothing ever. Was there a lawsuit? Who's the Ben Crump assigned? Who's the lawyer that the titular? Okay, you'll be the lawyer. Okay, come on, Ben. Hey, don't worry about it. We'll tell you. You'll be the face of civil rights or whatever it is. You'll be the guy. Nothing with her. Nothing. These stories just kind of go away. I don't want to bring up the Ray Epps thing, but it just goes away. We just hear about it one day, and while I was telling you, listen, of course there were federal agents in the crowd. Of course there were federal agents at Woodstock. That's what federal agents do. They always immerse themselves and involve themselves. Of course. But, and this is the important part, organizing it is another story. Just because they were there, people always, they always confuse it. They said, well, look, that guy's wearing khakis and wraparound sunglasses. This is a Fed. He's in on it. No, that doesn't mean he's in on it. It means he was there. There's a big difference. But there were things that made no sense. Come on in. Charlie Calais, by the way, our good friend, says it's reported by the whistleblower that General Milley is the one ordering the military not to go to the Capitol. Well, he's gone, isn't he? This was the stand down order. Do you remember Norman Mineta, who testified that Dick Cheney on 9/11 gave the stand down order to intercept jets that were coming in? Do you remember that? Nobody's talking about that. There's no 9/11 commission on that. No. Because, by the way, remember, the first thing government does, with the exception of if it affects Donald Trump, is to always hide deliberate malfeasance and ineptitude. Now, I want you to watch this. Ask yourself this question. One of the things about trespass, remember, this is I hate to tell you this is a public place. People go to the Capitol. You go there. Some doors you might not get into, but this is not storming the Pentagon or this is the Capitol, where people they have tours and welcome for the tour. So people have this idea that, okay, this is our building, a public building. It's like going into the post office. Granted, not all entrances are provided. Now watch this. Let's go back to this. This is the fellow here. I don't know who's taking this picture or this video, but there's this one scene here that's really, really interesting. Now here he is pretending either to, I don't know what he's yelling, but pretending to look like, hey, go away, yous. What was that? You see how he's pretending to push him back? Go back, get back. Stupid. I have a question. Does he have a gun? Does he have a weapon on him? They didn't fail to use it on Ashley Babbitt. I don't think it's a good idea to brandish it, but does he? Is he just waving them goodbye? Now watch what he has strategically placed around the corner on the floor that he picks up that he does not have in his possession initially. His baton. Get back, you. Get back. Let me ask you this again. Right around here, don't you think if he had a baton right here, isn't that this? Nobody wants to get hit by this, not cordite. What's the name of it? It's almost like, you ever felt them? I mean, it can just crack legs and skull. Where's his baton or something? Now, did I see? I hate this is like a Zapruder. Did I see him look at his left side? Is there some type of I guess not. Now he picks it up. Get back, you! And now he's running up. Get back! Get back! Is this the way? Where is he running? Is this the way? Seriously? Listen, I don't want to second guess people, but is this the way you run from people? He's running away. Get back! Now, I'm not. Again, there are certain things that we can do. We can second guess all day long. I want to be unequivocal, 100% unequivocal. I would have never done that. I would have said right away, oh, no. Not that it was a setup, not that, hey, I know what they're trying to do. This is, hey, look at that. No. I would say, no, this isn't my style. I don't do this. I don't storm. Anytime I see these lunatics running around here, I want to have nothing to do with them. I've seen this before. And anybody who's there is asking for trouble, okay? This is nothing to do with, well, it's your First Amendment right. Standing outside with a sign is one thing. This is another. It's incredible. I want to see if I can show you something here, which is this the one? Let me see something here. Let me see.
Yes, theft conviction.
Oh, no. This one we'll get to this in a moment. This will anger you like you cannot believe. Sparky says, by the way, why is Pelosi admitting this now? Precisely. I'm sorry, I missed your initial question. And Gracie loves George. No statute of limitations on murder. Hopefully there will be justice for Ashley. It is not going to be murder under and anybody charging the officer with murder. I would defend him. No. Manslaughter, reckless endangerment. No, this was a different story. This is a civil case. There was no criminal case. This was not the knowing and intentional. No. That's not murder. It's. I would have loved to have my favorite in a classic jury trial, civil. I would have had the best police trainers ever, and just have them read off their credentials. How long? Well, I was in charge of homicide. I was chief of police. How long have I done? Put 100 years of collective law enforcement experience behind them. And, sir, based upon your observation of what officer, the mysterious officer that we kind of know his name, whatever, his activity regarding Ashley Babbitt, what is your assessment as an expert? Did he violate or follow accepted police procedures? He would say no, he violated them. Boom, 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 boom. Was there any reason to shoot her? No. Why? Because there were people around her. She was breaching this door. Okay, bad girl, bad Ashley. But he's pulling a gun. There are people around. It goes right. It does a through and through and you kill people behind him? No. If you're so worried about this, the whole other part of the Capitol, they don't care. They're saying, come on in, including the guy with the Valkyrie helmet and the Sonny Bono jacket. Come on in. Come on in this way. That's okay. But this guy, he freaked out. He didn't know what to do. And if you want to bet, undertrained, who knows why he was picked for this? Was he a friend, somebody's cousin? They think it's a cushy job. Work at the Capitol. Give some tours, go home, get a pension, no big deal. Did he freak out? He could have taken out his baton and started flailing. I think Ashley would have said, not here. This barrier, this was the Maginot Line, this he couldn't traverse. No. It's the biggest scam ever. And we know it. Let me ask you this. If I wanted to show you, this is federal property. This is federal. If all of a sudden I'm saying, hey, do me a favor, can you bring me, I don't know, bring me somebody from the 82nd Airborne. You got any around here? Yeah, we're doing a training thing. Like, yeah, would you have them fly over and have them parachute out? Let's show them what it looks like. Let's just bring in some MRAPs. Let's show what it looks like. National Guard live for this. National Guard, they call them weekend warriors. They would love this. All right, put on your gear. Let's go. We're gonna drill with the Marines now. What? Really? Yeah. Okay. I said, all right, let's show them what we got. Show the whole world too. This is what we've got. This is what it looks like. Do you know what you look like when you're looking at people who are combat trained, not police officers? Those are police, combat trained, military. They don't know what the Fourth Amendment is. They don't know about asking questions and reading Miranda warnings. It's the scariest thing you've ever seen in your life. Bring them in. They would have loved to have done that. This is Washington, D.C. It's not Scranton. They didn't want that. January 6th had to happen. It was lie hop, my hop. Made it happen on purpose. Let it happen on purpose. They knew exactly what was happening. And this was a part of the many themes to impeach, to crush, to destroy. Not only Trump, but MAGA. And it began 4 years of, actually 5, of lawfare and living in a prototypical Soviet-style tyranny that I pray to God is over. Now, one more thing, I've got to show you this. This is the thing that I don't understand. The other day, they had Steven Spielberg, right, at this D-Day thing. And Tom Hanks, who believes he was in World War II. Tom Hanks thinks he was in World War II. Charlie says the cop was reprimanded for losing his weapon. Oh, reprimanded. How do he put it down. It was like around the corner. It's like, go get it. Don't have it now. Get it later. And he put it down. In any event, thank you, Charlie. Tom Hanks, after Saving Private Ryan, believes that he's in the World War II. The way he would say, they say, Tom, you're not old enough to be in World War II. Stop it. Stop it. Anyway, you think Spielberg and everybody would say, okay, folks, I need your help. Sit down. You've been summoned to the White House because we need your help. I need complete and total stagecraft. I need writers. I need the best cinematographers. I need everything. First of all, what are your rules? Number one, make sure if you have the president out in public, he has to be Adderalled up. Make sure you get to his pharmacist, whoever is the doctor who gives him he's good for an hour. Do not put him in anything that's either too slow or too out of place. I thought, oh, D-Day, this would be perfect because everybody's somber. He is, think about this and listen to me carefully, okay? Listen to me carefully. Joe Biden at Normandy was around people who were over 100 years old, okay? In wheelchairs. They look like they were at a rave compared to Joe, like they were in a mosh pit compared to Joe. 100-year-old people, they're going like this, they're waving. Macron's talking to them, 102, like this. They're slower, but they're moving and they're thanking you. Here's Joe, frozen in that flat affect. So what do? They put him in the most inappropriate of things you can imagine. Now, let me show you this one here. This is the one that I want you to see. Now, first, I've turned this sound down for reasons. I don't know what this tune is. I want you to first look at the man to the left of, what's his name, Entoff or Kamala's husband, whatever the hell, the first hubby. What's his name again? Billy Porter? Billy Porter looks like he was in kinky boots. You see him wearing the gold lame, whatever you call this evening gown. Do you know who the person is to the right of the president? Who do you think that is? Who do you think that is? It appears to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, it appears to be George Floyd's brother. Now, I could be wrong. I don't think so. That's George Floyd's brother, right? I believe. To the right of the president. So we have a man, Billy Porter. He was in kinky boots. He dresses like this all the time, which is fine. It's America. Okay? Now, let me set this up for you. First, you've got USA, 4 years of trans and and all of these pronouns and Leah Thomas and am I a man, am I a woman? And people are sick of this like you cannot believe. First rule is keep the president away from this. We have 147 days. Theoretically, he ain't going to make it, but let's pretend, okay? So what do we do? That's right. We put him with a lot of people who, we got a Broadway star here, Kamala, and Kamala is like Kimberly Guilfoyle. You know her? This is Don Jr.'s fiance. Anytime, remember how Kimberly Guilfoyle would dance? She thought she was the sexiest dancer anybody. She thinks she was Sid Charisse and Charo and she was. In fact, the day of January the 6th, what is she dancing to Gloria? She thinks she's well, Kamala too. Anytime Kamala can do any kind of soulful thing. So what do? First of all, we get Earnhardt or whatever his name is, Doug or her husband. This guy does. He's like, I don't know what his role is other than just he's like the titular first husband or whatever. So you got, first of all, a man with a beard and a dress, okay, Billy Porter, which is fine. Then you've got George Floyd's brother, we believe, standing right next to him. And guess what they're going to be doing? You ready for this? You got it. Dancing and moving and grooving and swaying. And what is Joe? Frozen. Look at this. They're moving and sashaying and swaying and grooving to getting down to the groove. And there's Joe, frozen, transfixed, paralyzed, concretized, ossified. He's turned to salt. He's Lot's wife. He's a pillar. He's wondering, what am I doing? Where's Jill? Nobody around him. Here he is, laughing with the brother, ostensibly, of George Floyd. And again, if I'm wrong, please correct me. He looks like a mannequin. He looks like an animatronic, but he's not moving. He's frozen. He's wondering, what am I doing here? It's incredible. The optics of these idiots. I don't understand it. Now, but wait, there's more. There's more. Oh, no. You want more of this? Dig this. Now look at this. Now here's the best part. During the period, they ask, all right, let's go old school. Let's clap. Wow. The simplest of 4-4 or whatever you want to call it. Everybody, even the fellow with the red shirt, the woman with the highway fluorescent vest, everybody. I don't know where the fella in the dress is. He's not there. Anyway, the place, so you put this this ossified white dude from Wilmington in the middle of this soulful, lively, rhythmic, musical to show the contrast. And all they have to do is do a very simple clap. Watch Joe. Now watch this. Ready? Everybody clap. 1, 2, 3. Bam. Dun, dun, dun. Look at Joe. Out of it. He's on another. He's doing 5/8. He's doing 8/5. He's doing a time signature that doesn't even exist. He's just trying to get feeling back in his hands. Everybody's. This is the lunacy. This is the absolute lunacy of this. This is where you say, I know this. I would say, what are you doing? He's not going to be with a bunch of black folks. First of all, George, who is it for? Get him out of here. We're talking about January 6th, which makes them say, wait a minute, Nancy, did Alexandria do any filming of you during the George Floyd rioting? Was that? Don't bring up, get him out of here. And what's the man in the dress doing? That's Billy Porter. I don't give a damn who it is if it's Milton Berle. What are you doing? We've got 147 there people who are looking at him and saying, we can't take 4 more years of this. And every time I turn around, you're linked again with this insanity that nobody agrees with. Nobody. Ask any of those staunch, Bible-going, Sunday-go-to-meeting, AME folks, whether what they approve of a man in a dress. I don't care if he's in, it doesn't matter who he is. Do you think they like this? No. What is the mindset? Who is this? Some 20-something? Edie Crowley says Kafkaesque or just Kafka or Kofefe. Thank you, Edie. Unbelievable. Now let me show you this. This is the one that will get you. Bianca Ellis. Get ready for this.
Arrested her and then let her go. 4 days later, Ellis is seen going to the Volunteers of America thrift store, where police say she stole 2 knives, then briefly stopped in bins and things before walking into Giant Eagle. At 2:58, she walks past the service desk with the knife waving by her side, and no one appears to see it.
Well, with all due respect, nope. Anyway.
Then we see her walking near the cash registers. Again, no one appears to see or react to the knife. She then passes Margot Wood and her 3-year-old son, Julian.
Her 3-year-old Julian. And you know what happens to 3-year-old Julian.
Ellis immediately turns around and starts to follow them. Cameras show just before 3 p.m., Ellis walked into the lobby and follows behind the mother and son as they exit the store.
With the knife.
Cameras then show her following them through the parking lot and to their car.
Okay. This is a story that is so barbaric and so unbelievable. Wait, that's not going to get your attention yet. There was a moment, a sickening moment, when the woman who was accused of butchering a 3-year-old, Julian Wood, in this Ohio grocery store parking lot. She appears in court. This is Bianca Ellis, 32 years old. After she allegedly stabbed the child to death and also wounded his 38-year-old mother, Margot Wood. You ready for this? You want to get angry? This is the one that will stay with you for the rest of your life. And you can't make this up.
The defendant did knowingly cause serious physical harm to JW.
Look at the look. Look at the look. Look at this. Now, she's also setting herself up for an insanity defense.
On date of birth 10/29/2020.
Look at that. Look at that.
Count 5 alleges that on or about June 3rd, 2024, the defendant did torture or cruelly abuse JW, date of birth 10/29/2020, a child under 18 years of age, and furthermore, the violation resulted in serious physical harm to JW, date of birth 10/29/2020. Count 6 alleges that on or about June 3rd, 2024, the defendant did attempt to purposely cause the death of Margot Wood.
Remember,
Count 7 alleges that on or about June 3rd, 2024, the defendant did attempt to cause the death of Margot Wood as a proximate result of the offender committing or attempting to commit an offense of violence. It is a felony of the first or second degree, to wit, felonious assault, Ohio Revised Code Section 2901.11A1. Count 8 alleges that on or about June 3rd, 2024, the defendant did knowingly cause serious physical harm to Margot Wood. Count 9 alleges that on or about June 3rd, 2024, the defendant did, knowing that an official proceeding or investigation was in progress or was about to be or likely to be instituted, alter, destroy, conceal, or
and by the way, I don't know if this is her lawyer. I don't know if this is her lawyer. I don't know. But I promise you, anybody else, anybody would have leaned over and said, "May I have a moment, Your Honor?" And we would have said, I promise you, if you don't wipe that smirk off your face, I'm out of here. Because I have an ethical duty to zealously represent my client. And if anything interrupts my ability to zealously represent my client, I must, under the rules, resign my representation, to withdraw. So you better get this straight. And I don't understand the look of it. And I don't know who this woman is on the left, but you think she would say, "What are you doing?"
Remove any record, document, or thing with the purpose to impair its value or availability as evidence in such proceeding or investigation.
I don't know what.
Count 10 alleges that on or about June 3rd, 2024, the defendant did with purpose to deprive the owner, Volunteers of America store, of property or services, to wit, knives, knowingly obtain or exert control over either the property or services without the consent of the owner or the person authorized to give
consent. It gets better. Wait.
I have now read the indictment to you. Do you wish to enter a plea of not guilty?
Now, by the way, let me just give you a little bit. If ever you get the point, if ever they say, "Do you waive formal reading of the indictment, the arraignment?" Yes, we waive it. Don't read it. We know it. We got a copy of it. This is common law days. And forthwith to you, the king. When people are listening to this, they say, "Oh my God. Why didn't her lawyer, I don't know, waive the formal reading of it?" I don't get this. But here we go. Listen to this. Let me see. Here we are. Here we go. You're going to love it.
Or the person authorized to give consent. I have now read the indictment to you. Do you wish to enter a plea of not guilty?
C. She's Spanish now.
Pardon me? C. What's same mean? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. I understand the victims are represented and they want to make a comment before I set bond. Is that?
Now look at the I don't know who this woman is to the left. I'm assuming it's her lawyer. I'm assuming. Raul, by the way, says, this is good. Raul says that Biden needs a team that cares for him. Yes, indeed. That's the understatement. Now, I don't know who this woman is, like I said, But I don't get this.
Truth? Yes, Your Honor. Okay.
Maybe she's a probationer. I don't know. I think she's a lawyer. This is horrific.
Good morning, sir. Could you start with your name?
My name is Jared Wood, father of the deceased.
Father of the
Husband of
deceased.
Margot. Your Honor, that day, 1 week ago, she took everything from us. There's nothing that could ever replace my son, or anything that my wife and I, or even our other kids, are going through. It's horrendous. And I really wish no bail, period.
Oh, don't worry about that.
Or extend it to the max limit possible. By
That I can agree. Don't worry about that. Her wishes are command.
To keep this monster behind bars.
She ain't going nowhere.
Thank you, sir. Is there anything else you would like to say?
That'll be it. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Oh my God. Look at that. Look, he's just frozen. He can't believe what's happening. This is the 1,000-yard stare. This is the thing that. Look at this. Look at this. She's just devoid of humanity.
Is there anything else before I pronounce bond?
Your Honor, we would just ask that you consider assigning the Public Defender's Office, recognizing this is not our number. We did represent her at the first appearance unit. I did meet with her on Friday. We have had contact with her family and begun working on the case. Thank you, Your Honor.
Oh.
When the original bond was set out of Muni Court, the bond was set at $1 million, and it was before the
$1 million
passing of one of the alleged victims.
Yep.
I do not believe that bond is appropriate given the change in circumstances and the allegations that are contained in this indictment.
No
bond
bond.
is set at $5 million.
Five?
Cash, surety, or property. GPS, no contact with any surviving victim or victim's family. DNA order. Judges John Russo. Pretrials June 17th at 9 a.m. I'll assign counsel.
Now, a couple of things here. First and foremost, the purpose of a bond is simple. Bond is to, number one, ensure the defendant's appearance and also to protect society. She would have got no bond. Even say $5 million, you would have gone a gajillion. Do we have a Google? What's that one with 100 zeros? This is it. Let me just remind you of something. Let me just remind you. Just remember this.
3.11
Look at this.
A1 and or in
This is the picture. Vote for Trump 2024. Now, you're going to ask yourself, does this have any, how do I say this? Does this have any responsibility that the Biden administration can have? Well, you might have a hard time saying that. Let me say this in the clearest of forms. Number one, she is going to try insanity. Does that work? No. The McNaughton rule is the rule that applies. And in order for an insanity plea to be effective, you have to show that at the time of the offense, she could not appreciate the difference between right and wrong. That's it. Not that she hears voices, but that she couldn't appreciate the difference between right and wrong. And they will say things like she tried to conceal herself. Now, she walked in with this knife. You could say she obviously didn't know that this is against. That's going to be, they're going to have some challenges. No jury. Nobody. Now, I don't know if they have the death penalty in that. Who knows? But the bottom line is simply this. By virtue of a systematic sense of, what's the word? A message that goes through the world, goes through the community. It travels. There is no fear of anything anymore. There is no fear of apprehension. There is no fear of incarceration. There is no fear. People know that Defund the police is in the news. And they may not follow the news, but they know that defund the police. They know that you can go into stores and a CVS and a Walgreens and a Sephora. You can go into malls with bags and just clear off shelves because there is no law and order anymore. You know that. You know that after George Floyd, there is no law and order. And if anything, and I don't want to bring any kind of racial component into this, but I don't think somebody would be far-fetched into thinking that there is a separate level of justice for non-white defendants. Just as people said during Jim Crow and other periods of time that if you were black, there was a separate system where you were mistreated, where you weren't given the benefit of the doubt. It would not be beyond the stretch of or beyond the realm of or beyond the scope or beyond imagination for somebody to think that with all of these things, I can do whatever I want. I've been in and out of jail. I got arrest warrants. I don't care. These folks live on the periphery. But to be even more honest, this is the rarest of the rare. This is somebody who is devoid of any feeling. Did you see the look on her face? Nothing. A little boy. Who knew that those parents, I just don't. It is a heart. To even call it evil doesn't even give it a name. There is no name for this. And to be so methodical, I'm going to look and then see and then turn around. This is why this election means more than anything. This is but one little, when you go up to a mosaic, you'll see one little tile, one little frame, one little chip of color. And that is a part of the mosaic, the scene. That's exactly what this is. That's exactly what this is. This is it, folks. This is it. And one more thing, and I'm going to let you go with this. There's a video coming out. Lionel members will get this now, but it's going to go up later on. I was watching this piece it's on my YouTube thing, and it was Greg Jarrett, Dershowitz, Hannity, talking about Hunter Biden and saying, would somebody please talk about the Second Amendment? Would somebody please talk? I know you hate Uncle. If I hear about Burisma one more time, I don't know what I'm going to do. I know it. My God, it's just like bleach bit. We know this. But the biggest thing is the Constitution. Hunter Biden should be on trial, not for filling out a form as a drug addict and not telling people he's a drug addict. He should be in the dock for, along with his father, having subverted the rule of law and to conspire to basically use the office of the vice president or whatever to lie, to bribe, to whatever. And by the way, the statute of limitations has been told, and those charges are still available under a novation theory, if you will, under President Trump. But we're missing the Second Amendment. And yet again, we see these things, and we have to spend some time to marinate and to allow us to really involve this. By the way, dear friends, thank you so very much. Last night, Mrs. L and I had a wonderful time with you last night. You were just terrific. We're going to do that more. Thank you so much. By the way, our interview is up, as it were. And one more time, if you were to follow her on YouTube, this is the link. Go right there to Lynn's Warriors on YouTube, and I provided the link right there for you. All right, dear friends, thank you. We love you madly. You are so very kind. Raul Rodriguez, thank you, my brother. Edie, the lovely Edie Crowley. Charlie Calais. Gracie loves George. And, of course, Charles Calais. And Sparky. The inimitable, the ineffable, the ineluctable Sparky. All right, dear friends. We will see you later. Have a great and a glorious day. And don't forget, comment. No, that's the wrong one. That's the other one. That's my other one. This is The Monkey's Dead. That's it. The Monkey's Dead. The show's over. Sue ya.